Hey everybody, this is JJ at realitysurvival.com again, and right now what I got for you is basically 4 different kinds of really good bushcraft type, wilderness survival type saws. 2 of them are a little larger and 2 of them are a little smaller. We'll just start out with this Baco or Baco Laplander. It's a folding saw, and they're very high quality, made of good high quality steel. I couldn't actually find what the steel was that they're made of, and to be honest with you, I just got this one, so I haven't tried it out a lot, but I've heard a lot of good things from other people on YouTube and whatnot, so I want to give that a shot here today and see how they do. But I have used several of this folding style saw, and they do work really well. I've had a number of the Gerber folding saws like this, and I think they do okay, but I've had a lot of problems with breaking blades on them. So I wanted to give another style a shot, and I'll show you some footage of how these things cut here in a minute. With this particular one, once you open it, it does lock into place, and then you just push this button down, you know, to get it to close again. And when I first got this one, I actually had to take this apart. I don't know if you can see the marring on the screw there, and on the blade where this button locks in, I had to take a file and file the coating off of it so that it would lock into place good. So that's one thing to think of. If you do purchase one of these, you might have to do that. I don't know if that's like that on a lot of them, but that's what I had to do with mine. So other than that though, the feel of it, the construction of it, it's very sturdy. You know, it's got your lanyard on the back here, it's got a good rubber grip on it, and you know, it feels like it's going to be a really good saw. So I'm optimistic to see how it does. So that's the folding style saw. This you've probably heard me talk about a little bit on my how to make a buck saw video. I used a blade from this one to make that, and this is probably the coolest or one of the best all-around saws that I have used. I've owned this saw for about 15 years or so, and it just does really well. It is super sturdy, and it cuts very well, and it's got good adjustments on it, and it just, I can't say enough good things about it. It's super light, and it basically just forms, you know, like your basic saw. I mean, your basic crosscut saw or whatever, you know, a handheld saw, buck saw, you know, with aluminum frame, whatever you want to call it. But Sawvivor is the name of that, and I highly recommend these. I mean, like I said, for a bug out bag or whatever, these things are great. You can put 1 or 2 blades, you know, in the handle and carry them around, and it's awesome. I've had this particular blade for 15 years. It still works great, and I've used it a lot. So that is one of the other options here. And as you see, it's got the tension adjustment right here. Tightens it down so the blade doesn't move anywhere. And then, as you saw just a little while ago, I just loosened that up, and then I'm able to take it apart, and I can put the saw just folds back onto itself. Take the blade off, and then the saw blade stores down in the handle just like that, and then it's got a little nylon bag that it'll fit in. So that's the Sawvivor. That is an excellent saw. This is another type of folding saw that's used for, like, you know, backpackers and you know, that kind of thing. And this is also a great saw. It's a bigger saw than the Sawvivor, and that's its strength and its weakness at the same time. The strength being that the blade is longer and you can get a better cut from it. The weakness being that it's pretty long, and so fitting it into a pack can be a little bit cumbersome, depending on the style and size of ruck that you carry. It might not be a good option for you, or maybe it's no big deal. With like the Alice type packs, it is just a little long, and it sticks up through the top of them. So that's why this one's not my most favorite, but it is still a good, effective saw. And what you want to do here is, with this one, to keep the blade from twisting, you need to tighten it down all the way until I don't know if you can see that there, but until the blade is actually in the little slit in the frame there, and that will keep it from twisting and keep it nice and straight. So as you can see, you got a good solid handle here. You can grab it with both hands. You got a nice long sharp blade, and it's in a sturdy aluminum frame, and it works very well. So that is another option for you. And like I said, these saws work good. I've had this one for probably 12 years or so, and I've never had any problems with it. It's a little bit more cantankerous on getting it together. One of the things I noticed when I did this here is you want to make sure that this actually comes all the way through the handle there before you get it all tightened down. So that is the Sven saw, Sven SA-SAW, and it's made by SWEN Sven Products. I'll put a link to the manufacturers up on each one of these saws in the description down below. So we'll go ahead and tighten this up real quick. And we'll do a little bit of cutting with these as well. Now this one is one of my other personal favorites, and I say that it's kind of a non-traditional bushcraft saw, but it's pretty awesome. It works really well. This is a Stanley Fatmax, basically like a keyhole saw, and it has very aggressive dual teeth on it where they're staggered, and it has a very stiff and pretty thick blade on it, and it's got a nice rubber handle. You can hold on to it real well, and this thing is awesome for bushcrafting, for notching, for cutting, and all that kind of stuff. It really does a good job, and it's a very strong tool. It's cheap. I think I picked it up for 10 bucks or something like that. And then what I did is I just took some rawhide and I just made a sheath for it, and it's great. I mean, you carry it on your belt, you can put it into your bushcraft pack or whatever the case may be, and it's pretty awesome. I just made this a couple of months ago, and I've used it several times already, and I'm very happy with it. So anyway, stick with me here, and we'll go ahead and come over here and give these a shot and cutting some wood, and we'll just get going on that here real quick. Okay, so this here is a piece of deciduous wood, and it's dead and dried out, but it's still pretty solid. So what I'm going to do here real quick is just cut through it. It's probably about 3.5 inches or so in diameter. So we'll just go ahead and do a little demo here. Again, this is the Baco Laplander. Blade seems long enough to give you a pretty good stroke. It could be just a touch longer maybe, but nice clean cut. It went straight through, so that's pretty cool. Definitely a good saw, and it seems to work pretty well. Again, this is the single tooth, and they're just staggered a little bit, but it's not the dual tooth like the Fatmax. So that worked out pretty well. Let's get to the next one. Okay. So this is the Sawvivor. Got it all ready to go. A little longer blade, let's get a little more stroke through there. Again, also just works really well. And again, this blade's 15 years old. I don't even know how much I've cut with it, but it's a lot, and it's still cutting really well. Okay, so the third one is the Sven saw, and go ahead and get going with this one. Now this one we should be able to get a lot longer stroke on it, and just kind of, it's a little more smooth, because you can let the teeth do so much more of the work. Really, if you were looking at a long-term situation in the woods, this will be a much better saw than the others, because it's just more efficient, you know, having that longer blade like that. So that worked out really well as well. Okay. Turn this piece around here. So here we've got the Fatmax, and you know, like I said, this is probably 3.5 inches or so. So it's pretty good size, pretty good diameter for a saw of this size to be cutting through, but I think it'll do it fine. We'll see. So, starting to wear me out. But as you can see, I mean, you know, that piece of wood is as big as my forearm. I mean, it's a pretty good size. And it cut through it pretty well. So, they're all really good saws, you know. Alright guys, well, I appreciate you watching. Just a very quick demo on 4 different types of bushcraft or wilderness survival type saws that I think would make a great addition to your bug out bag, to a woods bag, to, you know, any kind of situation where you think you're going to need to be splitting into wood to start a fire, or, you know, cut firewood down or anything like that. All of these saws are really good. They've kind of got their own strengths and weaknesses. The Blackout is very compact, very lightweight, and affordable. Blackout, I don't really know how you say that. So it fits into a pack nicely. It seems to be very well made. It cuts good, and the downside is they're a little bit expensive. I think I paid like 40 bucks for this thing, and the blade isn't really long enough to get a good efficient stroke in there. So, you know, pretty good saw overall. The Sawvivor, I think, is the probably the best combination of all four. I think this one is definitely the best. It's extremely lightweight. It is a little bit expensive. I think 15 years ago I paid like $45 or $50 for it. But it lasts forever, and it's super strong, and it's just a really good design. And you got the good. It's longer than the folding saw, but not quite as long as the 7 saw. The 7 saw is definitely good for a long-term wilderness situation where you're going to be cutting more. You're going to be cutting bigger logs. You know, if that's the case, if your bigger material is definitely going to be more suited on this type of saw. Also pretty expensive, but downside also is the size. It kind of sticks up out of your pack, and it's not super convenient, you know, as far as size goes. But because of the way it folds up into a nice thin line, it doesn't take up much space. It's just really long. Then you've got the little Fatmax. Personal favorite of mine as far as just easy to carry, you know what I mean? It's a lot smaller than the Sawvivor. Downside is you don't have the blade length, but it's super sturdy. I mean, it's a really, really super sturdy blade, and it does cut very well for its size. I mean, as you saw, I took that forearm sized log and cut through it, and you know, the blade length is probably only 6 or 7 inches. So that's pretty cool. And it's just durable. It's just super durable. So anyway, that is the 4 saws that I like. I'd be real curious to know what saws you guys carry and which ones, you know, work well for you. Please leave something in the comments below letting us know, you know, which ones it is that you guys prefer. And if you have a different type saw that's not here, I'd like to know about it, because I like to check out new gear and stuff like that too. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I always appreciate it when you like and subscribe, and, you know, share it with your friends and stuff like that. That definitely helps us out a lot. So anyway, have a good day and stay safe.